Yo, what up? This is Matt here at Just for Fun. Going to be playing the final deck in our Standard on a Budget series for this version of Standard. Standard's going to change online in a few days, or maybe tomorrow actually. And then Fate Reforged will be out. So it's going to look totally different then. So for now, what we're going to be doing is this is our budget white deck. I decided to go through all five colors and build a monocolored deck. Uh, the trick being it had to be less than 10 tickets. So for white, we're way less than 10 tickets here. Actually, this is a really cheap deck. What I decided to go with was the token strategy because, I could have gone heroic, but then there's the blue-white heroic deck already. I could have gone for a mono-white control kind of strategy, but I did control with the blue and the black. So I decided to do something a little different and do like a token strat with the white deck. So it's I've played a bunch of games with this, and it's not great, but it is fun. It's definitely a fun deck to play, and there are situations in which you win like totally out of nowhere, so that's cool. The impetus for building this deck was Dictate of Heliod, which I think is an absurdly powerful card, and should somehow find a way into the standard lexicon because it's really good. Usually you get a spell where it's an instant speed plus whatever, like a trumpet blast kind of thing. Fortify, I always loved Rally the Peasants. I thought that was a sick card. This kind of thing, this kind of flash effect, instant pump effect, but it goes away. And also usually it's power only. Now this is power and toughness, and it sticks around for you. And really, what are you paying? You're paying like 2 mana more than usual to get the effect permanently. Now, obviously, Anthem effects, um, you know, uh, reward going wide, so having more creatures, right? So that's why I decided to go with the token strategy. And the upside of this card is sometimes you just win totally out of nowhere. Like, you'll have 5 tokens in play, you'll cast this, you'll swing in for 15. Your opponent was not expecting it, and he'll just croak, right? So that's why I wanted to build this deck. Now, I could have gone Devotion with this, with enchantments and Heliod and Nykthos, but I decided to just keep it super budgety. So what are our token makers? So we have Raise the Alarm is the best one and basically out right now because it's instant speed and it's only 2 mana for 2 dudes. This is a great card. I wish there were a couple more at this mana cost because most of these cards are actually more expensive than you'd expect. At the 5-drop slot, we have Take Up Arms, which puts 3 dudes into play at instant speed. So this is not really a great card. I mean, there are lots of other cards I'd like to be playing instead, but it works for a couple reasons in this deck. And one of them is that there's just not that many things that make tokens, but it's not as horrible as it seems, right? And that sounds like a ringing endorsement, right? And Triplicate Spirits, this card, if you played any M15 Limited, this is a bomb in Limited. And with Convoke, since you're going to have some tokens from the other spells, it's pretty easy to this most of the time is the 3-drop, really. You're paying maybe 3 mana and tapping 3 dudes to get 3 more dudes. With flying and having multiple flying bodies is very effective when you have some anthems. So in addition to Dictate, we're also playing Paragon, which is nice, because it curves nicely following some another spell in the deck that I'll show you in a second. And again, sometimes you can just slam this and win out of nowhere when you got a bunch of tokens in play already. And this sticks around. The Vigilance ability is not really something you're probably going to be using. maybe in a real corner case kind of situation. Basically, this is a 4 mana 2/2 Anthem, right? Now, Take Up Arms works really sweet with Devouring Light. So one of our removal spells I chose, Devouring Light, because of Convoke here. So if you have 5 mana open, your opponent attacks, you can put 3 dudes into play, block some, set up some blocks, and tap the dudes to cast this. And I've done that in a couple games, and it's a huge blowout. I mean, it was just really, really beefy play. A couple more creatures that make tokens. Mardu Horde Chief is occasionally 2 creatures for 1. Hey, 2 for 1, what a bargain. And playing him and then curving into Paragon is really good, right? Like, so on 2, raise the alarm, attack with one of the tokens, play Horde Chief, play Paragon. You're in pretty good shape if you could curve out like that. As far as other removal, I threw in a couple Suspension Fields and Banishing Lights just to deal with big stuff, get things out of the way. Ornithark also makes tokens ostensibly if people don't pay the tribute, and if they do, then you have a 5/5 flyer for 5, which in the scheme of things is a very playable card in my opinion. I like this card. If it weren't for the fact that there's things like Wingmate Rock out there, this is a pretty sweet card to play, right? Seeker of the Way is in the deck as a 2-drop to activate Mardu Horde Chief, and also just to do what it does, which is to keep you alive with the lifelink. There's plenty of non-creature spells in here, because a lot of the token, in the creature slots you have the token making spells, so you can activate this pretty frequently. And again, I like curving him into Horde Chief too. So there's not too much in the way of trickiness in the deck. Oh, I threw in the Radiant Fountains just because, why not? And sideboard, I didn't really fully employ a sideboard here, but just some Glare of Heresies, Erases, and Aegis of the Gods for whatever may come up. So let's see if we can get a match or 2 in. Maybe we'll get a decent one, and maybe we'll actually. I think out of our 3, I'm gonna play 3 matches. I think if we go 1 and 2, I'll be pretty happy. So, but if we go 2 and 1 or 3 and 0, then the deck is a lot better than I think it is. But it's still fun. It's a fun deck. It's budgety. This was what I came up with for white, and let's give it a shot.